It said Diddy threatened to kill Vibe editor over a magazine cover. So the Huffington Post is saying Combs allegedly threatened the former Vibe editor-in-chief Danielle Smith in 1997 after she declined to show him an upcoming magazine depicting him as an angel. The editor of a music magazine on Friday became the latest woman to accuse embattled rapper of violent behavior, claiming he threatened to see her dead in the trunk of a car over a 1997 editorial dispute. Combs is currently facing multiple lawsuits, blah, blah, blah. All right, cool. Combs and I worked a lot together, the then editor-in-chief of Vibe magazine wrote in New York Times. Okay, so it's a New York Times article, so let's just go to the New York Times article to see if we could get the source. Damn, look at this motherfucking thing right here. What the fuck? You gotta subscribe for this shit? Man, we not subscribing for shit. Damn, look how they got Diddy painted like he's a fucking menace. All right, whatever. Smith recalled wanting Combs on the cover of Vibe's 1997 December and January 1998 issue with in white feathered wings. The photo shoot in September went swimmingly, but the aftermath proved disturbing. Combs wanted to see the Vibe cover before they went to press. Smith wrote on Friday, "It wasn't our policy to show covers before publication, so after I told him no, we heard that he planned to come to our office and force us to show him." Smith recalled staffers hashing out a plan to keep her safe from Combs. By then, rap mogul had been found guilty in 1996 of threatening a New York Post reporter with a gun, and was also busy denying that he had something to do with the 1996 killing of Tupac Shakur. Smith recalled grabbing a stack of covers, cover proofs depicting Combs when he arrived at the Vibe office and rushing them to her managing editor before jumping into a cab to flee. He resumed his efforts the very next day. She said she politely refused to show him the cover when he demanded seeing it. It was then that Combs told me, as I've retold hundreds of times over the years, that he would see me dead in the trunk of a car. Not missing a beat, I told him he needed to take that threat back. "Take it back," I said, as if I were 10. "Take what back?" Shit, I could imagine Diddy saying, "Nigga, you better take that on that threat." So, then with a vile laugh, "Fuck you." Smith continued, "Take it now. Take it back now," I said, "or I'm calling my lawyer and you're going to jail." He said, "I know where you are right now, right on Lexington Avenue." Combs refused the comments in the New York Times. HuffPost reached out. Smith recalled that while he faxed over an apology within hours, the magazine's servers went missing a few days later. Fortunately, a staffer saved an early version of their upcoming issue on a personal disk, and the cover went to print. He's not been accused of blah, blah, blah. Wow. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. You know, is this him and her? Oh shit, I guess they must have had a cordial relationship. I'm not gonna say this is not an indictment of everything. You know, when you put it in context of what you've heard about Sean P. Diddy Combs, aka Brother Love, I'm not going to say this is not further proof for an indictment that maybe he was a very violent or threatening or just nasty person. I also do want to inquire, and this is just me asking, and by the way, I want to send, if she did go through being threatened and felt the fear for her life, I want to send some love and blessings to her. I do have a question, though, because I know when I came into the music business, and even when I started covering music shit, and I guess that's after the magazine era. That's kind of even after the websites era, or the websites era were phasing out, the blog era, whatever the case is. It was still commonplace for rappers to believe that the way to control the media was to threaten the media. So I'm not excusing Diddy's actions at all, but I don't think Diddy was the only person who did this. And again, obviously, this isn't something with like sexual assault or abuse or nothing like that. It just goes to show this guy was a controlling, maniacal, like maybe POS piece of shit that was threatening people to have favorable reviews or for him to be able to control them in whatever aspect of jobs he did. This is what I say. When I see people start speaking out, let's not only speak about Diddy. Because I am really skeptical. that Diddy was the only monster. And when everybody keeps coming out and be like, oh, I got a Diddy story too, I want to hear all the stories. I want to hear the stories about the people who haven't been named yet. Because right now it is convenient to be like, well, Diddy told me he's going to blow my car. He told me he's going to get somebody to beat me up. I think that, what the music industry won't say, they're acting, and I told y'all this before, they're acting like Diddy's a one of one. And I particularly don't believe, number one, first of all, I'm not saying he probably wasn't one of the worst, but I think that was probably more reflective of most of those people within that era. So while you share a story about Diddy, what about the other executives? What about the other times people threatened you? Share those stories too. Because what I'm seeing is that everybody realizes, you know what they're trying to do? They're trying to shut the book on that era by tying the noose to Diddy's neck and hanging Diddy while everybody lay low and go free. And my thing is, we're not trying to spare Diddy, but if you're going to speak truth to power in these times, we're far removed from it, but people do care about it, you shouldn't only speak about Diddy. What about them other niggas? What did Jay-Z do to y'all niggas? Did Jay-Z kick y'all door down? Did he send Memphis Bleak up there to rob y'all? Like, we want to know the truth. We want to know the truth about everybody. I just don't believe that this behavior was only Diddy. And that's the only thing I kind of look at it, because I'm like, this feels like what this music industry is. When you see a R. Kelly and people will throw his name under the bus and be like, yo, yeah, he's horrible. And by the way, I'm not saying he's not. But they're like, he's the only one that liked kids. He liked underage girls. But when you really study rap history, that don't seem to be the truth. It seems like there's a lot of other men that used to date underage women, and sometimes even married. And these stories are very public, and the people they were dating underage were famous or ended up being famous, but they don't get called out. So what I believe is happening here with Diddy is that for all the wrongs of that era of Diddy, that other maybe executives, moguls, or whoever else indulged threatening behavior, intimidation tactics, beating up journalisms. Like, I remember saying this about Troy Ave when he first came out, and definitely about Meek Mill. They still think that it's the old era where you could threaten the media and beat them up for them to get down with your program. Don't you see how Meek Mill talks to me like, no, we could beat up Ack and get him out of here. That's why he's done. We're not in that era anymore, right? But there was a time, like if you watch Straight Outta Compton, I know it's over exaggeration, but it's loosely based in truth, where niggas is going up in their record label office and fucking with baseball bats, and they swinging and breaking shit and intimidating the people, hopefully to get out of a deal or to get this or get that. That was definitely intimidation, and threats were all peppered through the music industry. If we're to go off the stories we hear, now, maybe you could make the argument to be like, well, we're not talking about other people right now. We're talking about Diddy. My thing is that if this is something that the New York Times cares about, we should expose everybody who was making these threats. And from what I'm hearing, let me not say half, all of the executives were behaving in this manner in terms of strong-handed approach and acting like street niggas to journalists and label people to get their intended result. So I'm still waiting to hear the people who are going to tell me the story about how Jay-Z was running around and how Irv Gotti was running around, and even Dame Dash, even though he looked like he's been telling his story a long time. I want to hear about everybody because, I see everybody trying to rush too quickly, and I guess jail is going to be the thing that people are going to feel like, okay, this era is now, we've right the wrongs of this era. But I just find it hard to believe that Diddy was the only, I'm not saying he might have not been the worst, but I find it hard to believe that some of these allegations, Diddy was the only nigga doing. I find it really hard to believe. I find it very hard to believe that he was the only people threatening journalists, saying they're going to kill him, doing freak offs. I find it very hard to believe, but I'll digress. Anyway, so if you guys didn't hear the news as well, so Diddy's mother was actually hospitalized, right? And his mom was hospitalized, and apparently, let me see, this apparently they think that stress is a factor. Let me see if is this a morning. Hold on, give me a second. What the fuck? Okay, no, okay, that's an old one. Anyway, so Diddy's mom, her name is Janice Combs. She's actually 84. Now you got to imagine 84, you're up there in age. She was actually admitted to a hospital after having chest pains recently, and a source familiar that was close with the situation, they're kind of thinking that it might be stress related. Now,